Good morning, Rajas. Doctora Delvera here for you all on behalf of the Counseling Department to talk about National Suicide Awareness and Prevention Month. So today's topic is focusing on the Latinx community and culture. When it comes to seeking mental health care, the Latinx community has always struggled with stigma, both in and outside of the United States. The reasons are varied as our culture's pressure due to machismo, a heavy reliance on faith versus therapy, and a general lack of education when it comes to what psychology and psychiatry can do for us. And that doesn't even take into consideration the financial and language barriers that cause many to view therapy as a waste of money, something people of color don't do, and we keep our business within the family. In 2019, however, many people in the Latinx community are finally becoming increasingly aware of the value of taking care of themselves, not only physically, but also mentally. And considering the current political climate here in the United States, it is more important now than ever for Latinx community to dismantle mental health stigma. It's important to remember that barriers to mental health are significant within the Latinx community. One of them is a language barrier. Does my therapy speak Spanglish? Because I speak in and out of English and Spanish all the time. Do they speak only Spanish so my parents could also talk to them and my loved ones? Do they speak Spanish because I can't communicate my thoughts and my emotions in only English, right? Does my health insurance cover it? What if they don't cover all of it? Can I afford it? Can I not afford it? What does that mean right now, especially during COVID? My legal status. Will someone be able to know my legal status if I seek mental health services? Do they have to know? What if I don't have documents? What if I do? What does that mean for me and my legal status in this country? The cultural differences. What do you mean you want to go to a counselor and talk to somebody because of your emotions and what's going on? Are you crazy? No, that stays within the family. That's family business. This is what I mean by cultural differences. Having to explain to somebody that having someone there to listen to you to help give you coping mechanisms isn't something for someone who's crazy or because you want to give someone else information about your family and what's going on. It's to help you and the coping mechanisms that you need currently because of the situations that are at hand. And of course, the stigma. What will people say if they know you go to therapy? Who cares what people say if you go to therapy? We all need it, whether we want to or not. We all need it, either now, later on, or in the future. According to the Anxiety and Depression Association of America, only 20% of Latinx experiencing mental health issues ever speak to their doctors about their symptoms. Worse still than that, 10% actually seek out help from a mental health practitioner. This is despite the fact that ADAA states we all face anxiety, PTSD, and depression in similar numbers as that of the rest of the population who do seek mental health services. When talking about mental health, it's important to realize that many of us have trauma within our lives, and we continuously continue to experience it, especially with the current political climate at hand right now. But because of this trauma, we have probably built a great distrust towards authority figures. However, seeking mental health services does not mean that you are going to an authority figure. On the contrary, you're going to somebody who is here to help you cope with those circumstances that you're currently going through. The other thing that I want to bring focus to is how the difference between males and females has made a big impact or a shift within the Latinx community and therapy. It is stated that more Latina high schoolers attempt suicide than their white peers. Why is it? Is it because Latinas are expected to take care of their family instead of taking care of themselves first? Because of the nuance of machismo within our community and how much it has an impact on everything that we do and how we're expected to care for others before we care for ourselves. Remember, Rajas, we can't take care of others until we take care of ourselves first. You can't pour water into another glass if your glass is empty. Thoughts of suicide were up to 8 times higher for Latino students who felt less connectedness and communication within their families. This is why it's important to break the stigma. We're asking you to be the future chargers of tomorrow's leader and break the stigma within your community and talk about mental health issues, talk about suicide. No matter how difficult it may be, it's a communication and conversation that needs to happen. Don't wait until something tragic has to happen in order for this topic to be brought up. If you're like me, talking about such a taboo subject with your loved ones is very difficult. Let me be honest, even doing this presentation is difficult. Why? Because I'm a Latina, I identify as one. So these are topics that are taboo in my culture, and I was brought up to be taboo and that we don't talk about. We don't air our dirty laundry with others at all. So if you are like me and you have experienced difficulty combating these taboo subjects as mental health and suicide, I encourage you to take a read into any of the books that are shown here on the screen. So one of the books that really has helped me be able to break from this taboo subject is I Am Not Your Perfect Mexican Daughter, addressing the issues of anxiety and depression within our families and our communities, and how we do have those conversations with our loved ones so they can understand where we're coming from instead of being defensive. Besides the numerous books that I shared on the screen, here are other resources for you all to try to use to your advantage, not only for yourself, but for your loved ones. There's links about spaces where you could communicate with other peers and other members of the Latinx community to talk about mental health issues. There are spaces on here where you could actually find a therapist who speaks Spanglish, because your brain works in both Spanish and English like mine does all the time, going from one language to the other. There's spaces here where there are therapists who speak only Spanish, so if you want to use them for yourself or for your loved ones and refer somebody. In addition to these spaces, remember, those are also the hotlines there for you. Suicide hotline, domestic violence hotline, and the Trevor Project crisis line. So besides these wonderful resources, please, please, please remember that here, your Raja family is also a resource, whether it's your peer, a counselor, an educator, administration, teacher, whoever you feel comfortable sharing and disclosing information, we're here to support you and to help you through this. Please make sure that you not only are getting those resources for your loved ones, but for yourself when it's necessary. Take care, stay safe. Bye, Rajas.